On Monday, I had a chance to catch up with Dan Stevens, head coach of the Heritage Pioneers. Pioneers taking on Harrisonburg tonight at Heritage High School, 7:30. The girls will take the floor at 6 against the same Harrisonburg Blue Streaks. Dan Stevens gave his thoughts on what his team needs to do well, who has been doing well from his team, and he looks at some other teams that are still in the playoffs that are playing as well. Dan Stevens on the Sports Buffet podcast. Always fun to talk to Dan Stevens, head coach of the Heritage Pioneers. Pioneers still playing, which is always a good thing. Coach, talk about what you expect in the first game of the regionals tomorrow night.
Well, we have Harrisonburg, and we've getting a little bit of film on them, and they're a team that does not have a great record, but has played a lot of really good teams tough. And I had one of the coaches in that district tell me they thought they were the most talented Division IV team in their district, and they are physically pretty imposing. They got a big 6'8" athlete in the middle, and 3 guys on the perimeter who are scorers, and they had Broadway down 21-9 at the end of the first quarter in their district tournament and ended up losing. So, yeah, we know we got our work cut out for us. We're going to have to play well and take care of the ball and have good shot selection, all those things we've been trying to pound home down the stretch here.
How important is it that your team not even really kind of pay attention to what the record of Harrisonburg is?
Well, I mean, that would be ideal, because at this point, we're pretty much all coming in at 8-0, and it's do or die. There's a lot of urgency at this point, and their kids are going to be excited, and I'm sure they'll feel that urgency as well. So, records at this point are pretty unimportant. Talk
a little bit about some of the personnel on your team that you feel confident in as we hit the postseason, that, they're mentally tough for you and ready to play some ball, too.
I'll tell you, down the stretch, we've had especially good guard play. Malik Tyree, our point guard, and Justin Joyner, who's his partner in the backcourt, been really solid for us in a lot of areas. They've done a much better job of taking care of the ball for us. They've rebounded well. They've come up with big steals. They've really given us a consistent strength to kind of rely on in the backcourt. At this time of year especially, guard play is so important, and those guys have let us. So our leading scorer, Jeremy Hill, is a guy who we rely on to do a lot of different things. We'll put him inside some, and he can post people up, but he's also been a great player on the perimeter for us, and he's had to really come through for us on the defensive end as well, guarding bigger guys, and he's done a pretty solid job in that area as well.
How much do you think that EC Glass win really counted for in the district tournament in terms of, can that be an emotional lift that can carry you, 4, 5, 6 more games?
Yeah, it's big. We played them back-to-back. We beat them in the last game of the district regular season, and then 1 week later we had that win in the tournament against them. So to do that back-to-back against our big rival was definitely an emotional lift, and we were able to finish the regular season on a 5-game win streak and kind of ride that momentum into the postseason. We, of course, dropped the last of the Hammers, but we've been playing pretty well, and I think we've been playing our best basketball of the season down the stretch. So that was a big win, and just from the standpoint of keeping the positive momentum going, I think that is really important.
The regional and state tournament kind of is a little bit like the NCAA tournament to me, and you need good guard play and you need a good big man. We talked about your guard play. I don't know if we find a much better big man than Trey Grooms in terms of scoring inside and the defense. Talk about Trey and what he needs to do in this postseason.
Yeah, Trey's been especially important for us on the defensive end. He just is such a great innate shot blocker, and he can use his jumping ability and his long frame to not just get block shots, but also to redirect shots and bother shooters. And and he makes it easier on our guards to get out and pressure a little bit, knowing that they've got backup in the paint, and that's been real key for us. He's been a great rebounder for us, really, on both ends of the floor. We've relied on him heavily to help us in the rebounding game, so that's been key. And Trey's a guy who kind of hangs around the basket in our offense and gets a lot of putbacks. When the defense starts to help too much our penetrators, that frees up Trey for some highlight shots of his own. So, that's been big for us. He's a very important player for us, and we're looking for big contributions here tomorrow night and hopefully further.
And, I think, too, that the Seminole District actually this year is going to be able to carry a bit of a torch for a while in regional play. Harrisonburg, Brookville, and Amherst join you guys. Real quick, kind of give me a footnote on each of those three teams, which impresses you.
Well, Amherst has just been so consistent. We played them 3 times, and all 3 times there was a point in that game in the second half we felt like we had them, and yet they came back and won. And they've just done that consistently all year long. They're really a smart team. They play really hard, but they don't make a lot of mistakes down the stretch, and they shoot free throws really well. So, those are a couple of ingredients for teams that are capable of going a long way, and they haven't lost much. They have been in a position where they could have, but they seem to make the plays down the stretch. So that bodes well for them. As far as Harrisonburg goes, you know about the big man that makes it all go for him. And Marshall's is about as talented a player as I've seen in this area during my time here. And he's a guy who you're always in the game with him in there. He does a good job of making plays inside, outside. He does a good job of not picking up fouls and staying in the game. I don't think he's been in foul trouble all year that I've seen. So that's where it all starts with them, and they get good guard play also from Marcus Patrick, and he does a good job of penetrating and kind of taking a little bit of the heat off of Marshall. So, and would we scheme to shut those 2 down? They had a couple other guys, Forsland and even Kimball, who stepped up and hit some big threes for them. So they're a pretty balanced team, and they're in the tough bracket, but I think that they have the capability to go a long way. And as far as Brookville goes, that's the team we hate to play. They play everybody tough. They pretty much every game they play, they're very disciplined, patient on the offensive end, and as well as the defensive end. They don't make many mistakes there. They make you work for everything you get. And, they're a team that hangs around, and they got a couple of shooters who can hit big shots for them. So, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them knock off some people down the stretch in this region tournament.
Final thing for you, Coach, as always, appreciate your time. In closing, give me 2 or 3 keys that you feel just get you past Harrisonburg, and we'll worry about everything else later on.
Well, we talked to our guys about valuing the basketball and, making sure that we're making strong passes. And sometimes we work so hard on the defensive end, we'll get a steal, and then we'll turn around and give it right back. And we just can't do that at this point in the season. We got to value the ball and make sure every possession ends with a good high percentage shot. That's easy to say, but to the degree we could do that, that's probably going to be to what degree we're successful. We've got to think the game. We've got to be smart out there. We've got to execute the things that we've been working on since November and even before that. We've got to think together. We got to communicate with each other as well. And if our kids can do those things, we feel like that we can play with anybody and anybody that we've seen. And so it's kind of the culmination of a lot of work for these kids, and we know that they have the capability to be great on any individual night, and the key now is, can we do that on a consistent basis? And that's going to determine how long we're in this thing.
Well, Coach, best of luck. Hopefully it will be a while, and we will talk to you very soon.
Thanks, Bob.
Dan Stevens on the Sports Buffet.